Thanks for watching this Sunburnt Country Music interview. My name is Sophie. I do all the interviews here at Sunburnt Country Music. In fact, I do everything at Sunburnt Country Music. And I really appreciate those of you who have liked the videos and subscribed to this channel. If you'd like to be among their number, then you could hit the like and subscribe. That'd be great. Thank you. Elly McK and The Unbelievers are a four-piece alt country band from Melbourne who have released several singles since last year. The latest is Hold On. They are also a highly entertaining live band and they're about to play some shows in New South Wales and some in Victoria. Elly is here to talk about all of that. Hello, Elly.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Great to see you again. And we first spoke last year when you released the single The Wind Up, and there have been three since then, including Hold On, which is the latest. I'm wondering whether you recorded them all around the same time.
No, the wind up was recorded alone. So that was we have a studio that we use, that's our own studio. And then what we decided to do was to go outside of our normal production techniques, and we used a studio called Lily Street Studio, and we recorded the Too Early, Don't Stay Away, Hold On, and one more.
Okay.
And that's what they're so for the EP. And we used we worked with a guy called Casey Rice,
Mhm.
and they are really good at capturing live performance. So we were all in the room this time, and
Right.
we used so it sounds like us. It sounds
Yeah.
like us when we play live, which was exactly what we wanted it to be. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
is that part of the decision making in changing the studio? It's like we actually want to go to a place where we can record live.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
And how do
Yeah.
you
We
come
feel
to,
it's really
sorry, go
sorry.
on. So you,
We feel like it's really important that because we love to play live and we love to be getting around and playing and meeting people and traveling and that sort of thing. Like that's essentially what we are as a live band. So
Hmm.
to capture that in our recordings was really important. Yeah.
Yeah. And I saw you play live in Sydney last year, so and I absolutely understand what you're saying because I've seen it, which is there is this the four of you have this, there are four members of the band. The four of you really had this great groove together, and it was also really entertaining. So it was this whole balance of, yeah, the music's great, but then I could tell that you just all really love playing with each other, and you don't always see that because sometimes personalities can get in the way, and no matter how musically accomplished the performers are, there's a bit of friction, and I suppose the friction can be useful, but in your case it's just like, oh, these people really like each other.
We do. We do. Um, yeah, like we've been playing together for a little bit now, and we just really enjoy it. We really enjoy our time with each other. And a lot of the time behind the scenes, we're sort of in our own spaces or working on things individually.
Hmm.
And when we play live, that's when we come together, and that's like the fun. All the behind the scenes stuff is off the table. We're just there to have a ball.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and it's funny because we do have little sort of things with each other, like, I'll look at Jordy when we're doing a particular part of the song, and we just like, I feel like we just have like a little in joke just by
Yeah.
looking at each other, or the same with Monty and Sam, of course, yeah, on drums. Yeah, I have to
Yeah.
turn right around to see him sometimes. So that can be difficult.
So Jordy is your bass player, and she has a double bass, and
She does.
a lot of double bass players, it's a big instrument to manage, and you've got to sort of hold yourself steady. No, no, she grooves and she bops. Yeah.
She doesn't stop. She doesn't stop. Yeah, we had a show recently where it was quite a small venue here in Melbourne, and it was packed to the hilt. And I'm sure that 80% of the eyes were just watching Geordie. And they're watching her hands and watching her dance. And she's got the tats, and she's so joyous. I always say she's like our the ball of sunshine, even though we're all very quite happy people anyway. She's definitely the most upbeat on stage, and yeah, she just grooves along. So cool.
Because you don't often see bass players, even if they're playing electric bass, being too animated. I suppose in funk bands you might, but she actually reminded me of Dan Freeman, who is Fanny Thompson's husband and bass player, because Dan gets right into it as well, whether he's playing electric bass or stand up. And I thought, like, it's just it is so lovely for the audience because it's the rhythm section, and you think, well, if the rhythm section's having fun, then that forms the foundation for the whole band.
Yeah, I think because we're I know the name suggests that we're like Elly McK and the Unbelievers and that there's some sort of disconnect, but we create everything together.
Mhm.
So you know, even I am the main songwriter, but we do write songs together. So the song Too Early, which we released earlier this year, that was actually a lot of the constructing that song was me, Jordy, and Monty. Sam was overseas, and he came back, and we were like, "Surprise! We've created this song." And then he came in and added some extra, and so we feel like that lack of disconnect
Mhm.
really is part of our show without us having to even fabricate or try. It's it's just who we are because that's how we live this project. We all do things together, and so we all own it.
Yeah.
And we love to perform and just have a ball.
It shows, and I think it's so lovely for an audience when that happens because, as I'm very fond of saying, when the audience gets that signal early on in a set, they can just go, "Oh, I can relax. These people have got it. I just need to sit here and enjoy myself." And again, it's not always the case. Sometimes when the artist is bringing some insecurities in, for example, the audience can feel that tension and they feel like the work is on them, and then that makes the whole thing quite fraught. But in your case, it was just this instant I can relax. Like this is going to be a great time.
Yeah, I feel like the audience is part of the live experience.
Mhm.
It's, you know, this moment in time won't be captured again. We want you to be part of it. And I'm so glad that you felt that came across.
Yeah.
And it's often we'll get off stage and we're just like, oh, that was so much fun. And then we want to tell everybody how much fun it was for them. We're all like hyped up.
I can
But
understand.
I definitely I don't do the cool rock star thing too well, you know. I'm just like, I'm just me. I'm happy. I love doing what I do. So yeah.
And isn't that amazing? Because I think that's the ultimate achievement, really. If you love what you do and you're happy spending time doing it, then you know there are very few things better, I would imagine, in this life.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
So the first time you all played together, I would have been a rehearsal space. Did you feel that gelling of it, or did it take quite a bit of time to get that rhythm together?
So we've had a few different guitarists come along since we very first started. Sam and I played in a band together pre the lockdowns.
Mhm.
And so after that, we came back together and decided to do something together. We originally weren't going to, we were just going to be a duo. And we then we spoke to a guitarist and I was just, you know, jamming out with a guitarist one day and we're like, oh, this sounds pretty good. So then he came in and it was just a natural progression. And then Jordy came along and she came to one at rehearsal. And as soon as she left, we were just like, yeah, straight away. And then, I mean, it's very convenient and we are extremely lucky that Monty was already in the house. So he is Sam's son.
Oh,
Yeah. So when we were looking for another guitarist, um, we were just like, "Do you want to come in on the?" And as soon as he started playing with us, we're like, "Yeah, this is exactly what we were looking for." And um, and then the voices, we've really been working on adding lots of harmony and working on voice within the band,
mhm,
and that's just been such a great process too. Like it's obviously things are hard work, but
mhm.
when you love what you're doing and it's working, then you know we're just like this is gold. This is so good. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're just while it's working, we just keep going.
Well, and humans do respond on a primal level to harmonic voices. So if you can bring those harmonies in, I always think audiences love that too.
Yeah, yeah. Look, being a somebody who is obsessed with voice and singing,
Right.
um, there's sometimes we're in a rehearsal and we'll be working out parts, and it'll just be like two voices singing a particular part that's a harmony part, and I'll just be looking at someone and go, "Oh my goodness, it's just like so good." It's just so lovely to hear, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
you
is.
have that experience.
It's beautiful. Like harmonic singing is beautiful. Look, admittedly, I was trained from a very young age, well, programmed on ABBA. So for me, harmonic voices, I've got this deep, deep coding from like the age of 4, where I respond to it. So I love hearing it always. So how did Jordy come to join the band?
So she's in another band called Risen the Sugar Plums. They're a rockabilly, country rockabilly band. And so Sam was playing a festival with her with another act, and he met her, and then we sort of coaxed her over. So we share her between the two bands. She's
Right.
a very busy lady. Yeah.
Well, yes, like understandably, because yes, highly entertaining. So these days, do you need to rehearse much, or are you playing enough that you feel like you don't have to do it all that often?
We don't do it as much as we would all like because we're playing so much. But we often do get together to work on new things, or to our songs continually change. So sometimes one of us will have an idea for a song that, like an original song of ours that we've been playing since the start, and we'll say, let's get together to rehearse because I've got this idea, and so we'll change the song again.
Right.
Yeah, so that's often what we do. Or we play shows up to 3 sets. So there's often we'll put a new cover in, or we've got something new as a new song to work on. So we do get together as often as we can, but with playing a lot, the actual rehearsing doesn't happen. It's probably more of a creating process.
And I
Yeah.
suppose Sam and Monty can, tee that up with each other if they want, anytime they like.
Just go to the studio. Yeah.
Also, the studio is at their place. I've got it. Okay. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Um,
very handy.
yeah. So you are embarking on this tour to New South Wales. You're going Newcastle, Sydney, Kiama. Now you're playing in Sydney at the same venue as last time, which is the Butcher's Brew in Dulwich Hill. I think Newcastle and Kiama might be new for you. So how did you pick Kiama in particular?
I was obsessed with the views that I saw when we were driving along that coast last time, and I'm a beach lover, and they would not let me out of the car because
Oh,
we
that's
had to
just
get to a
cruel.
gig.
I'm a beach. I understand. I'm a beach lover too. And when you see a beach you want to look at, you gotta go.
I'm like, let me at that beach. We had a gig to get to, so they had good reason. So we often just look around at what else is going on, other music scenes that we feel would connect to our music.
Mhm.
And we had a great response when we played in Berry
Right.
last time.
Yeah.
So that's not too far from Kiama, and a lot of people who came up to us and said, yeah, I live just down the road, or live an hour away or something, and so we were like, we'll definitely want to come back to this area, and we get to like hang out for a little bit there, like a little bit,
Yeah.
and they might let me go to a beach this time.
Well, and
People boss, right?
Berry's a beautiful area as well. So you are great at picking your areas. And look, the Newcastle live scene, from what I understand, is also thriving. So totally makes sense that you would go there.
Yeah, we were trying to look for a bar that had a similar vibe to Butcher's Brew, that really small, intimate space. Because we are like we can be rocking, as you know,
Yeah.
but um, but because we really like that connection with the audience, we like to be in a room where we can see all the faces and really connect with people. And so and we're in the stage where we're building our fan base. So we're I think that's important for us to go into a new space and and not have something that's too big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because people want to feel that connection. It is part of the glory, I think, of live music is to be able to feel that connection with the artists. But spaces that you do return to, well, a space you return to is the Espy in St Kilda, because you have a couple of gigs there coming up towards the end of the year. So is that already a favourite venue, or it's just one you're starting to play at and you'll return to?
That's in Melbourne Institution.
Yeah.
So yeah, we played there earlier in the year, and we've got a couple of shows coming up, September, October, and we hope to do that more regularly. That side of the town, we often play in Melbourne. We often play on the north or in the west. So we like to get onto the other side of town, and the SB is like, yeah, we'll come. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. Yeah.
You mentioned that what you and Sam have been involved in before lockdowns, and I think for everyone outside of Victoria, it can seem like that was a passing phase. But I think just thinking about what you said there is like, how many creative acts actually changed or disrupted or disbanded because of lockdowns in Victoria in particular? Like, I think that cultural impact of what happened to you when you just could not have a sense of that you were going to be able to start up again, have live music. It was 2 years really of intense disruption. And so obviously Elly McK The Unbelievers is a good outcome from that
It
disruption, but
is.
I would imagine that for a lot of artists there's been this sense of the what ifs and some sadness around that.
There has been a huge change in the scene here in Melbourne after the pandemic. It's we've lost so many venues, so many venue owners have moved on to other things. That it's people's habits have changed. So it is like, it's still a thriving music scene, but it's really it's still coming out of that sort of fog, and I think it will. It was such a long time.
Mm,
Um, the it's interesting that you asked this question because the new song "Hold On"
mm.
was written in that time. So
Right.
yeah, yeah. So I lost my act. I lost all my band except for Sam,
Right.
and it was just that things changed for people. So uh, I felt very isolated. We all felt very isolated in those lockdowns, and the message was because people's mental health was a real concern in those lockdowns. Was reach out to your friends, and we're going to get through this together. How do you get through it together when we're apart?
Yep.
And this song is about that. I'll hold on if you hold on, and we'll get through this together. It's been a difficult song for me to release. Like, I get quite emotional.
It's a really
Um,
emotional vocal. I had a question
yeah,
about that. Yeah.
yeah, there's been lots of tears just through the recording process for this. Yeah, yeah. But I do feel like it's a celebration song for us, for me, that we've come through that,
Mm.
and we did hold on. And we do have this beautiful thing now. So yeah, it's I'm so glad that it's now out in the world. It's been a 5-year process. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
2020 that I wrote this song. So yeah, it's and the singing of this song, um it's really therapeutic for me when I sing this song. Yeah.
Yeah, because of course grief doesn't have a time limit, and
Mhm.
so much grief attached to, I think, for Melburnians specifically, Victorians generally. They're obviously, for the rest of the country, there are various things that happened during that time, but that grieving of things that you didn't want to let go of, like your act, uh,
Mm.
like your life as an artist, and that sense of frustration that it was forced on you in a way that absolutely no one could control. So I absolutely understand why it's emotional and why it's still emotional, because yeah, it's actually always going to be with you, I think.
Yeah, it changed people. It was a significant event in our lives, and it changed it changed people sort of to the core.
Yeah.
uh, yeah, and really impacted people. And I really struggled to write in those lockdowns downs, and to even play and sing and do everything. It was such a sort of shock to my system. But afterwards, and Sam was really a very good friend in helping me to get back out. And so these songs, there's a few more that I've written as well that aren't so sad, I suppose. But just that I wrote them during that time,
Mm.
and I'm really pleased that we're now able to get them out. Yeah, yeah.
And I think it also highlighted what you were saying about you struggle to even play, that sense of what the community and the audience as part of that music community offers in terms of energetic return. I mean, even if I look at, sorry, I'm an avid tennis watcher, for example, there were tournaments going on during the pandemic where there was no one in the crowd. The tennis players hated it. And that probably brought home to them how much the crowd was part of that exchange that
Yeah.
went on. And for you as an artist, even if you're just thinking about playing at home, no rehearsal, right? So
Yep.
even if you take away the audience, like no rehearsal, where is that impetus to keep playing? So I think any of you who have emerged from that time, it's extraordinary.
Thank you. Yeah, it's um there were so many things that were very strange. I mean, I work in music as well. So like community choirs online, not really the same thing. We're trying. I ran little kids music classes with 3-year-olds and 2-year-olds on Zoom calls that they would take me around their house on their Zoom, on their iPads, and
Yeah.
like it was such a strange time. And there were some real joyous moments like that. I did some collaborating with some people that I wouldn't have, where we did stitching the videos together kind of thing,
Yeah.
um, just to sort of keep that connection. But it's still never quite hit them. It was fun at the time, but it never quite hit the mark. It's not that live music experience. And I think, I had only just really started performing in a few years leading up to that pandemic. So I felt like I'd really had some momentum going. And then, so um, it's a real celebration that now that we're back doing this and traveling and recording, and it's so joyous for us. And I do wonder if we would have could really be as grateful as we are without that experience. Yeah.
I suppose that's the proverbial silver lining. It's just, yeah, I hate that you all had to go through it to get to there. And I do feel we're in the back half of 2025 now, and you mentioned habits changing during lockdowns.
Mm.
I think people this year I've felt the habit coming back. Obviously, the venues in Sydney have changed as well. That's where I am. A lot of closed. There are some that have opened and are doing well, but I do get the sense that the habit is coming back and people are remembering why it's so great to go to live music and what we all get out of it. So yeah,
Yeah.
next year I'm hopeful. It's been a while. That's a really long time, right? That's
It's
3 years after the end of the pandemic in inverted commas.
Yeah, I think I feel that we are, um even though there's a lot of talk about streaming and AI and things that take away from, seem to take away from that, the human element of music. I feel that there will be, not too far away, a turning point
Mm,
where they will live side by side and be, and there will be an appreciation for the live, in the moment,
yeah.
real human experience stuff, that will come back. And it like it's already there. I feel like it will grow.
Yeah, this because there's so few things better. In fact, I can't think of anything better. I love it so much. I would go live music every night of the week if I could. I just that idea that you're in this unique experience, and it's also partly why I think taking videos of it don't work, because nothing can replicate the experience of actually being there, and how it makes the audience members feel, and how you will always go home with a smile on your face, I think.
Yeah, yeah, totally. It I Going out to see live music for me is part of the process too, and I don't get to do it enough because I'm playing a lot. But if I'm feeling down about something, you know, go and watch one of my friends playing guitar and singing their heart out, and it's like, yeah, I'm back. I feel good again.
So I'm actually quite curious about some of the technical parts of playing live, and I don't often get the chance to ask artists about it. But because you're a self-managed band, you're running everything in terms of booking your events and everything, so you would be across all of the details. When you arrive at a venue, if you haven't played there before, I'm wondering if you actually look around and start thinking, oh, what are the acoustics going to be like? How do we test this? How do we set up a stage? And how long does that process take to actually bed in, for lack of a better term, to that new venue?
Venues vary as far as their setups. So sometimes we'll have a 3-page document that shows all the nuts and bolts that are in a venue, and we can visualize it, or that they'll provide a sound tech, and so they're running the sound. Other times we go in blind. We're like, what have we got? Sometimes we take our own. So that it can be really different. I am really lucky that my band are all over that.
Right.
So I do feel like sometimes I can just walk in and just go, where do I stand? I'm just going to stand here and be the star now.
So they do all the sound. They can do all the sound stuff if needed.
They do a lot of the sound stuff, right? Yeah. That's actually been a real learning curve for me, actually, and working out what I need on as far as sound goes on stage. So, and that does change in different venues. Sometimes you just like, you start singing in the, oh dear, oh dear. Other times you're like, this is fantastic. So it really varies. And that's what those skills of being a self-managed band, we have to have the skills of playing and performing with our own instrument, but it goes so far beyond that. And sometimes for us, we don't, I think it's for most musicians now, especially independent musicians, you kind of have to make it up as you go. So there'll be something that needs to be done, and it's like, does anyone know how to do this? No, we got to learn it.
Right.
We got to learn how to edit a video or create something for social media or book a tour.
Yeah.
So we just have to learn as we go, and it does sometimes feel like you're learning the hard way. You're learning in front of people, but that's the best way to do it too. You find out what works and what doesn't, and it's always a good experience. We're out there playing music, so
yeah
it can be terrible.
A bit of fuss to get there, but the skill set of the self-managed artist, the self-managing band is extraordinary, and actually the word artist doesn't really cover it, because you have to know all sorts of practical things, and the idea that a lot of people who aren't artists might have of artists is that they're quite dreamy and they're creative all the time, and yes, you are that. You have to be in order to make music, but that sort of earthy, pragmatic side of things as well is really important.
Oh, it is. It is. I work on this every day, and we all bring different skills to the management of the band. Whether it's sound production, writing amazing emails, festival applications. But it's. I'm very lucky that there are 4 people that can do things, picking things up, dropping off posters, going to the printers. Like there's no way I would be able to do it all by myself. And I can't imagine what it would be to be a solo artist, because you still got to do all those things. You do it on alone. Yeah. I'm really lucky.
I'm also curious about, when you get to the venue, you're doing sound check. Do you use sound check as a jam opportunity, or is it just, oh no, we're just going to check the lines and that's it?
Pretty much just check the lines. Yeah.
Not tempted to just go, oh, about 20 minutes, let's go.
We haven't yet.
Okay.
We haven't yet had that opportunity. It's sometimes the time is really tight. We have to get into a space, but also we think about our shows, so we don't want to give too much away before the show starts. And I think if we started doing that, then it's done. We're on now. We wouldn't want to stop and then start again.
Interesting. I mean, I was more thinking, I remember the stories about Frank Zappa, who a lot of people may not remember, because he died a long time ago, but he used to do like 3-hour sound checks. So, which were just jamming. But obviously that was just the way he did it. But I totally take your point about you don't want to take the energy away from the set.
Yeah. So in some venues we're doing the sound check while the audience is there.
Right. Yeah.
In other venues, we're doing it a few hours before, or yeah, I think when it's a closed sound check, there's definitely a bit more of that vibe
Mm.
going on. Yeah,
And of course, if you're doing a festival, it's often a line check and on you go. Yeah, you plug
that's
in.
it.
Oh, is it on? Great. Let's start.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. Multi lineup stuff can be like that. Yeah.
So hold on, I imagine would be part of your live set, but as you said, it's an emotional song. It's been a few years in the creation and release. Do you feel that on stage, or is it that
Yeah.
sense of, well, in the context, I've got to hold on a bit?
No, no, I'm not opposed to feeling things. Not opposed to crying. Uh, it's it's been a song that has evolved in its sound,
Mhm.
and it's it's one that when it comes up in the set, sometimes I go, "Oh, am I ready for this?"
Mhm.
But I always dive into it.
Mhm.
And it's one of the songs where I get to really use my voice in a way that is it's probably selfish for me. Like I feel like this song is for me when I sing it. And every time I perform it, I do it differently. So just depending on what I need from the song. Um, yeah, and it's great as a vocalist to be able to improvise,
Mhm.
and also at the end of the song I feel like, oh yeah, I'm good. I got through it, and and it's really therapeutic. Yeah.
I think you're allowed to be selfish because your name's on the band, Ellie.
Yeah, I know, right?
You get to make the decisions.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right.
But I also think it's a good point about not being afraid to feel things and not being afraid to cry, because we can have that sense of, oh, all sorts of cultural presumptions around crying. I'm also someone who's not averse to crying, because I just think, well, if that's your response, if your body's actually trying to produce tears to make you feel better, which is what's going on, then you should go with it. Otherwise, it can be not great for you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, feeling things is great. It's what we do.
It is.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what creates art in so many ways. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you live in Sydney, and people can catch you Newcastle or Sydney or Kiama or back in Melbourne, and no doubt you will be playing at other places as well in the future.
All around the place. We get everywhere.
Well, it's been great to talk to you, and I'll see you soon. Thanks, Ellie.
Thanks, Sophie.